So now we'll start with RNA viruses. The first virus is poliovirus. Okay, poliovirus. So we all know, because we have done the classification, comes under Picornaviridae. Okay. Then, as we discussed general properties in the general virology, so we all know all general properties about this virus. So we will be discussing poliovirus under the other headings what we have discussed earlier. We are not going to repeat it again. Okay. So what is polio? Polio, it is actually poliomyelitis, which is acute infectious disease of CNS. So poliomyelitis, it is an acute infectious disease of CNS, and it is caused by viral destruction of anterior horn cells of spinal cord, leading to lower motor neuron type of paralysis. Okay, so we will start. So general properties as we have discussed. So just a quick revision. So this is RNA viruses. RNA virus, which is single stranded, positive sense, then icosahedral symmetry, and it is non-enveloped, because we know all RNA viruses are enveloped except PARC, that is Picorna, Estro, Rio and Calici. So all the viruses under Picorna, they will be non-enveloped. So polio is also non-enveloped virus. Okay. Now there are three type of polioviruses. Okay, type 1, 2 and 3. Based on viral antigen, three type of polioviruses are there: type 1, type 2 and type 3. Okay, and it is based on antigenic structure of the viruses. So important antigens are the C or core antigen, and D or dense antigen. This is known as dense antigen because this is the complete antigen which is present in infectious virion. Okay, so it produces neutralizing antibodies. Okay, so based on this D or dense antigen, it is divided into three types: type 1, type 2 and type 3. Okay, so we will see what are these three type of viruses. 1, 2 and 3 type of polioviruses. Before going into the type of poliovirus, first we will see the epidemiology of the disease. So the transmission is mainly feco-oral, as we all know, because it is mainly transmitted through the feco-oral route, and man is the reservoir, and there is no carrier state. Okay, and the virus, after getting access into our body, it attaches with the receptor, which is CD155 receptor. Okay, then after attachment, the virus multiplies locally, then reaches into the bloodstream to cause viremia. Okay, and then it spreads to CNS, mainly through hematogenous spread, and also it can reach directly by neuronal spread. Okay, then in the CNS, the site of action is anterior horn cells of spinal cord, where it causes damage to the motor neurons, which leads to lower motor neuron type of paralysis, which is also a flaccid paralysis. Okay, so in CNS, basically the disease results due to destruction of neurons, and it is actually motor neuron destruction leading to the flaccid paralysis of lower motor neuron type. Okay, the incubation period is 7 to 14 days, and most of the infections are subclinical. Okay, so around 90 to 95% infections are subclinical, so we can divide it as subclinical infection or inapparent infection. Subclinical or inapparent infections, they are seen in around 90 to 94% of patients. Then we have abortive poliomyelitis, where we have minor type of illness and minor illness of GIT seen in 4 to 5% of patients. Then we have non-paralytic polio, which results in, because of infection, it causes aseptic meningitis, which is seen in around 1% of patients. And actual flaccid type of paralysis or paralytic polio is seen in less than 1% of patient. Okay, so in these less than 1% of paralytic polio patient, we see paralysis, which is flaccid paralysis, lower motor neuron type, descending in nature. It is asymmetrical. Proximal muscles are involved more as compared to distal muscles. There is no sensory or autonomic disturbances. And the reflexes will be absent reflexes. Okay, so when the patient have this type of paralysis, patient will classically show the clinical picture in the form of classical tripod sign, classical tripod deformity. Okay, so where the patient has to support himself by hand and feet together, resulting in tripod deformity. Okay, so coming to lab diagnosis, before going into this, so we will first see, as I told you, there are 3 types. It is very important to note here that type 1, it is most common for epidemics. Type 2, it is commonly associated with vaccine derived paralytic polio or vaccine derived poliovirus. Type 3, it is also seen after type 1 and it may be associated with paralytic polio. Now it is important to note here that type 2 is now not circulating. Please note, type 2 is not circulating nowadays. Okay, so this finishes about the virus and the disease, and now we will see the lab diagnosis. So how will you diagnose a case of paralytic polio or poliomyelitis? Okay, so we can diagnose by viral isolation in monkey kidney cell lines. Then we can do diagnosis by serological detection also. Serological detection by detection of antibodies by neutralization and complement fixation test. Neutralization test and complement fixation test. Next is the most important and very specific method is molecular diagnosis. Molecular diagnosis by doing PCR from the sample. Okay, so what will be the sample? It will be stool sample, stool or rectal swab or throat swab. In early disease, you can also take blood sample, so that in first 2 weeks virus can be recovered in 80% of cases. After next 2 weeks, it declines to 25%, and thereafter it is very difficult to isolate virus from blood. Okay, so blood is not a very good sample. So coming to the prophylaxis. Prophylaxis for polio, as we all know, we have very good vaccines which are of 2 types, that is inactivated polio vaccine, and live oral polio vaccine. Okay, so inactivated is also known as Salk vaccine, whereas live or oral polio vaccine, it is also known as Sabin vaccine. Okay, so because live, as we all know, live vaccine is better because it induces local immunity as well as herd immunity, and it also prevent the severe disease, and it also it circulate the virus in the community also, which is responsible for development of herd immunity. So the number of doses, both of these vaccines are now involved or included in the national immunization program. So Salk vaccine, as this is inactivated vaccine, so it is usually given 2 doses IM. Okay, and the schedule is 6 and 14 weeks, whereas oral one is 0 dose given at birth, then next doses are given at 6, 10, 14 weeks, and booster dose thereafter, at 12 to 18 mths. At 12 to 18 months we need to give the booster dose. Okay, so and we should know a few points about polio eradication program also. So what is polio? Under polio eradication program, we do all the efforts to remove the polio virus from the community, to diagnose or to identify the hidden cases of hidden polio virus strain in the environment also. So for this we do pulse polio immunization, then we do AFP sampling. All the suspected cases of flaccid paralysis, we do sampling from them, and look for presence of poliovirus. So AFP sampling and also sewage sampling. And then there is a global program also, that is known as Global Polio Eradication Initiative, which has launched a program known as Eradication and End Game Eradication and End Game Strategic Plan. I'm sorry, something. Okay, so this will be okay. So eradication and End Game Strategic Plan, which focus to eradicate polio by 1820. Next is enterovirus. Enteroviruses, that is enterovirus 68, 70, 71 and 72. These are the important types. 68 causes pneumonia or bronchitis. 70 causes acute hemorrhagic conjunctivitis. 71 is responsible for causing meningitis or encephalitis. Whereas 72, it is very important. Enterovirus 72, it is hepatitis A virus. Hepatitis A viruses. Okay. So this finishes our poliovirus, enterovirus. Next in line is Coxsackie viruses. Okay. So we have two type of Coxsackie viruses, Coxsackie virus A and B. In A we have 24 types, type 1 to 24, and in B we have 6 types. A is mainly associated with acute hemorrhagic conjunctivitis. All enterovirus can cause aseptic meningitis. So it will go in all the viruses. Aseptic meningitis. Then herpangina, which is, you will see the vesicle on soft palate and buccal mucosa of the patient. Herpangina. Then hand, foot, mouth disease, similar type of vesicular lesion in hand and foot of children, known as hand, foot, mouth disease. And it also cause respiratory illness. Okay, so this is type A, which is divided into 24 types, mainly cause and aseptic meningitis, which is caused by all enteroviruses. So aseptic meningitis, acute hemorrhagic conjunctivitis, then herpangina, where we see vesicular lesions on the uvula and soft palate. Then hand, foot, mouth disease, similar vesicular lesions in hands and foot of the children, and then finally respiratory illness. In Coxsackie B virus, it is multi-organ system disease, multi-organ system involvement. So as all enterovirus can cause aseptic meningitis, so in Coxsackie B virus it can cause aseptic meningitis, respiratory disease or pneumonia, Then we have multi-organ systemic diseases like pleurodynia, which is severe tight chest pain. Okay, so also known as pleurodynia or Bronholm disease. Then it also causes neonatal disease, multi-organ involvement in infants, pancreatitis, especially by type B4, because of which it may lead to diabetes mellitus. Then cardiomyopathy. Okay, so these are all diseases which are caused by Coxsackie A and Coxsackie B virus. Coxsackie A mainly aseptic meningitis, herpangina, hand-foot-mouth disease and respiratory illness, whereas similar type of illness by Coxsackie B virus and more multi-organ system involvement and metabolic disease involving pancreas, kidney, cardiomyopathy, then pleurodynia and respiratory illness. And when pancreatitis is caused, especially type B4 which is involved in, it may lead to diabetes mellitus. Okay, so this finishes our enterovirus.